a ranked best of 5. I had to check in on this. There we go. Game numero 1. And it will be here in Dry Arabia. With the French, something you'd expect to see being whipped out on such a map. But on the other side, Kasva, something that's just kind of becoming one of his type of signature moves. He pulls out the HRE. I've seen Kasva do HRE on Dry Arabia more frequently than I'd probably say any other player in the game right now. Okay, maybe that's not true. There is one other player, and his name is really unskilled. And he should really name himself really German because he literally only plays the HRE. But in terms of people that flex and play a lot of different civs, whenever I've been looking at Dry Arabia, the name that always pops up with the HRE next to the most is Kasva. And he has some interesting strategies. I'm interested to see if they make a return here. I haven't seen him play HRE in Dry Arabia in a week or two. But he used to do the outpost build on the relics a lot in experimentation with the Burgrave. We'll see if he tries that type of play. It might be a better way of actually playing this map up against the French, simply because if you try to run prelates out in the midfield and run them back, French Knight's going to have a field day. Speaking of openings and how these things are going to proceed, interesting choice by Kasva to so early go into the racks. Wonder why, actually. Oh, he knows where the gold is. This is such a Kasva move. He loves doing this. He scouted out where the gold is. He plops down the racks, and now he's going to rush the gold line. And PuppyPaw, David Kim, he's going to have to back away. Now, he could get shivs out against 1 spears. That's the only thing. 1 spear is not going to be good enough on his own. Kasva needs to get like 4 of them out. So, in theory, that should allow enough resource gain for PuppyPaw to tech up, but he probably won't be able to afford knights afterwards. Here we go, spear. Yep, shivs out. If he micros his back, it's not too bad, because he'll heavily injure multiple villagers. Yeah, there we go. 4 out. Oh, he almost trapped in there. Yeah, so this is my issue with what Kasva done. Is like, he maybe should have waited for the second spear. He didn't instant produce it. I think he maybe had gaps in the sheep coming back, or like a miscalibrated eco slightly. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the wood was slightly lacking, because by going for this racks, you can already see the sacrifice he made. He went for the racks, so he wasn't able to afford the lumber camp. And the knock-on effect is like you don't have wood coming in as quickly, which is why he probably couldn't afford the second spearman. Another detail to keep in mind is Kasva doing this is sacrificing his tech up. This is very risky what he's doing, and so far hasn't really yielded any value. He forces PuppyPaw to build a single outpost, but if he doesn't kill 2 villagers here, this is not a worthwhile play. Spearman once again. And this is the difference. Like, I like the idea, but the more I think about it, I genuinely think he needed the second spearman being pushed straight away. Maybe I'm just asking too much of his eco at that stage, but even just delaying the spearman in the tree line, because I don't think PuppyPaw was likely to push another villager out here unless you make this play. Spearman able to quickly force the scout away. Oh, stabbings come out. A little bit of miss micro there by PuppyPaw. 1 villager brought low. Needs the extra stab. Can't quite get it. Blocks himself out, in fact. Now the spearman being brought low are going to target down the scouts, and this is a lot of delay. It's starting to yield results as Kasva starts to snowball. 3rd spearman on the front line, and PuppyPaw will need to back away. Nice play. And this is Kasva. This has got Kasva written all over it. Not just the, haha, he rushed out with spears. That's not what I'm talking about. It's the fact he made a play. The play looked bad at first, and where many another player would have said, nah, it was a nice idea, but I need to just prep my eco now. He says, no, we're doubling down. We're doing this one way or the other. We're doing the easy way or the hard way. Either way, it's going to be easy for me at the end of the day. Why would it be easy from the end of the day? Well, you either lose quicker or you win faster. And you can learn something from these losses. So that's one of the cool things with him. And what? What's going? What? Relic. Relic. I thought I'd be saying Relic a lot in this game because it's HRE playing, but that's not the reason I'm saying it so much. Relic, where the hell's the damage? What? Why are they... Great. Great, yep. That's what we need. That's really what we need right now in our Road to Red Bull Wallow. You know, we've got a $300,000 land coming up later this year. We've got qualifications for it going on right now. And somehow torches do nothing. They're talking about it as well. What? The hell? Like what? Did someone forget to like douse their torch in flames or something? Oh, I get it, guys. This is one of those like electrical like lights. It's not a real fire. There we go. Now they've got real fire. This is pretty tilting for Kasva actually, because he would have probably set fire to the mining camp by now, and that difference has caused this. Like this is dumb. This is actually so dumb. This is gonna set Kasva's strategy back. Yes, he slowed down PuppyPaw in the end, but like realistically, PuppyPaw is still gonna reach his knights. It's finally taking damage. He had to pull the spearman off. When the spearman initially went on, they weren't doing any damage. I'm trying to think what that interaction could have been, because he killed this. It could have been the sheep, but he killed the sheep before the outpost. Either way, at least he burns it now. But the bad news is like the first units are coming out. He reached up. He's getting the archery range. He's getting the archers out. And the difference here is if you actually torch this mining camp first and moved west to the secondary one, you're probably delaying the first knights coming out still. Instead, PuppyPaw can just access them if he wants. And also another important thing that PuppyPaw can get access to because of this is wheelbarrow. Yeah, honestly, I wish I had the Era Relic because I'd love to highlight whatever the hell this is so they can get on it. I'm a little bit worried that that's going to happen in a key moment. Like, could you imagine if you rushed a landmark for a landmark victory? Like, let's say you had 40... Because here's the thing. We don't know exactly what caused that there. Imagine you have 40 horsemen rushing to end the game and you landmark snipe and you don't realize for, like, 3 torch hurls you're doing no damage and that loses you the game. That's what I'm thinking about. Like, before anyone thinks I'm overreacting because, oh, it's just, like, a crappy little mining camp that costs 25 wood for the French and you don't get paid for it because you're not the Mongols when you burn it. That's not the important detail here. The important detail is that is a bug that I'm not quite sure now how to replicate. I wonder if Kasva even realized exactly what it was. And the concern is that that could come out at a key moment in a game. Like, imagine you are playing a high-level game. It's a best of 7. It's the final game. And you landmark snipe. But you are also taking a fight on the front line or microing your defenses, so you don't notice that your horsemen are, like, torching and doing no damage. That's what I'm scared at. That's what I'm scared of. Like, that could occur. And that's why I highlighted the Wall Law event, because like we have those qualifiers going on right now. Could you imagine if like there was a qualification slot on the line and that's the reason you lose? That would be crazy. So I hope they know about this. Like if anyone knows a contact at Relic, I mean I could use like the typical forms, but do they even let you link videos in there? I don't know. We'll have to see. That's crazy though. I don't think I've seen that recently either. That was maybe that type of torch bug I think would occasionally happen at release, but I have not seen that in recent weeks. And look how much it changes things now. Because PuppyPaw is able to now move in. He was able to get the archers out without losing any slowdown on his gold gathering. He's feeling very good. He's thriving. The wheelbarrow tech should be already there, I believe. What? Whoa, 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 whoa. No wheelbarrow. Is this intentional by PuppyPaw? I'm very surprised by this because the French typically get wheelbarrow very fast as it's just so cheap. Maybe he didn't notice. And the irony sets in as PuppyPaw now returns the favor to Kasva. And this hurts for Kasva because you're HRE. Like, what's your end goal here? It's castle. He was even going on the stone slightly. What? Just for the arrow slits, I guess? You could have turned this into a multi-TC play. Maybe he was thinking about doing it before the archers shoot up. The spearman horseman starting to move out. The farm transition coming out because one big problem for Kasva is he has very limited sheep at his base. So it's going to be forcing that transition. Fun thing about this when you're playing as the HRE, though, is that the Arkan Chapel, the Holy Inspiration buff, makes it worthwhile pretty damn fast. Like, instead of just getting that pretty okay 0.75 gathering rate in the farm, instead you're getting the 1.05 gathering rate, which is higher than shoreline fish. Allows you to return your investment on these farms much quicker. An overall pretty nice Arkan Chapel placement because he did get his hands on the berry line as well as the wood line. So this will fuel the farms on the right side, and this paves the gap. This bridges the gap in your food eco by having the berries as backup. I wonder if... Is PuppyPaw thinking about going in for... Hold up. How long has he been pop-capped? Whoops. Yep, that, long enough that 3 units were on hold there. That's kind of awkward because I think villagers were included there. Small gaps like that are going to start to eat away at you. PuppyPaw is now 6 villagers ahead. And one thing I'm curious to see from PuppyPaw is if he's thinking blacksmiths into a siege engineering at all. I hope not. I just don't think it's worthwhile up against the HRE, especially when they've already been pushing a lot of melee crap that can torch them down. And to be honest, the reason you don't ever want to do ramming against the HRE is just this. It's motion repairs. It delays you way too long. You need to get like 3 rams to be effective, and that's a heavy investment. 900 wood at this stage of the game is a lofty sum. Instead, it looks like PuppyPaw is just going to run containment. And Kasva needs to keep bulking up troops to try and breach out at some stage. Other issue right now for Kasva is this is his only goal. Like, this has been scouted out really well. If you look at the lay of the lands, like where PuppyPaw is postured right now, he blocks out all gold potential. And he should see you moving out. Oh, the prelate. Has the prelate made it obvious? It might have. We'll have to see if PuppyPaw moves in a sec. He has to question mark where the hell they're going. Because originally, PuppyPaw was trying to move north here when he wrapped with an archer or two. We'll see if he reads the play correctly. In fact, for now, PuppyPaw is not moving at all, so Kasva might have snuck this perfectly. With 8 villagers here and the prelate to boot, this could be a very quick gain into castle, which is what he's looking for. Looks like PuppyPaw doesn't care. Instead, he's going to go for the secondary TC far out to the side. One benefit when you play the French like this is you're the tempo aggressor. You know you're up against a defensive Civ in the HRE, especially after that failed attempt at the beginning from Kasva. It means he won't come out anytime soon. It means that this shouldn't easily get scouted before, say, 20 minutes into the game. March in. Kasva just trying to torch this down, but remember, it's fortified, so it is reducing a lot of the torch damage coming out. Baiting him into a fight. Archers start stepping back. Into a choke point could be good. And oh, no, 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 no. PuppyPaw. Oh, no. No, no, no. What? Okay, by the miracle of the gods there. That worked out well. And I don't know if that should have. That could have been a disaster, folks. That could have been PuppyPaw's army white because he was being enclosed upon by spears. And that would have been a lot of French knights going down. Still be a lot of troops going down as the archers try to trade out. Knights are going to re-emerge into the fight as the spearmen do back off. And it looks like Kasva will be able to break out. I mean, I don't, honestly, like, can we just... Who else thinks that you should not be able to walk through there? So my process of thought is, like, if you have the tree and then you have the leaves underneath, it feels like right that should be a block off. But I guess it's based on the actual circle, the hitbox, so like the leaves are a bit deceptive. And if you look here, you can see the tiniest gap, which was able to squeeze through all those lads there. Probably getting slapped in the face by trees as they were walking by. You know, just big branches clubbing them in the face. Knights now marching in again. Outpost is just definitely going down at this stage. Kasva doesn't really need this gold, but the cool thing is now, like, he can play back towards a safe gold after this corner one. And he will look to reach up, and PuppyPaw will have to play a little bit of catch up here. It looks like he is pushing into the spearmen now in the meantime. Realistically, you want to try and find your own way to attack up soon, but the kind of crux of playing the French in this situation is you always want to feel like you're ahead enough that you can just naturally get castle. I would say he's definitely close to that point. Like, you can see on the numbers, 53 to 43. But the deceitful part about this matchup is when you fight against the HRE, you always feel a need to get a little bit more. It's never enough that you've killed, you know, 3 or 4 villages and you box them in and block their gold for X minutes. You always feel like you have to keep pressing, because if you don't, this Civ is capable of some remarkable timings that most Civs just can't even dream of. Raiden. This is a damn good Raiden, actually. Spearmen are out of position. Doesn't want to commit past, though, despite the fact he could have shifted on the villagers, and a lot of villagers were here. PuppyPaw, I don't think he saw the deer, actually. I think he was just out of range. Had he noticed that, maybe he goes in for the dive, because that could be several villages of Kasva's dead, and they're easy pickings right now, because still no textiles. Kasva, interesting. Going for the Regnants. Now, it's often I see this guy go for Burgrave, but I think it makes total sense to play Regnants in this game, considering you already built infrastructure. You've already got racks, you've already got 2 stables. I think where Burgrave makes the most sense is when you are rushing Castle Age as quick as possible. it sounds wacky because most people's mindset is like, no, that's Regnitz because, you know, you rush it and then you get the extra gold and you rush Imperial. I think that's like the old build. I think this build is so much better. In that if you're going for a quick castle, Burgrave gets the most value because off the finite resources you start with, you can amass a ridiculous amount of man-at-arms that are way too chunky to deal with. If you were to build a Burgrave now, like, sure, you have an extra 5 racks, but your opponent is insulated against this. He's gotten quite bulky. You're not going to be able to just rush one location and finish him off. And also, you're past your finite resources, so you're starting to, like, drag a bit. You're either in the middle of this farmland transition or you're trying to, like, you know, get the additional wood elsewhere. And those things slow you down. Ooh, someone else to slow you down, especially on that wood we were talking about. Raid in from PuppyPaw, strikes the Knights. Well, his opponent is not looking. And just like that, now 23 villages ahead. And that'll continue to extend. So PuppyPaw, of course, does have the double TC. Questions, what's the response to the HRE? They get the first relic. Any more than that is going to be difficult. And key detail here is I'm pretty sure that that got spotted. If not, PuppyPaw likely to expect the Regnitz at this stage, considering that, as I just highlighted, Burgrave just doesn't have value anymore. Not this late into your timing. A lot of control now for the French. Tech up coming out. Looks like it is going to be into the Guildhall. So PuppyPaw willing to play the long con here. Interesting choice up against the HRE, but in fairness, if you don't think that they can just out-boom you on tech very quick, I do feel like you match up really well. HRE has this kind of common issue, this misconception like they are really good in Imperial. It's like, yes, they can be really good in Imperial if they can reach it fast. You have to reach it fast. The whole point in the HRE is they have a very strong eco that allows them to unlock a tech advantage fast. If you find yourself at any stage behind your opponent in terms of age ups, something has gone severely wrong. Nice rush in. Uh-oh. They're in again. Just as he's diving out. Just to get rid of what? Was that the mill, I believe? I mean, PuppyPaw is going to dive back out just in time. Could have went deeper. Might have been worth pulling 1 or 2 Knights to just go into the farms. Maybe you sacrifice them, but you delay the eco again. Instead, he's just going to back off because, remember, he just got the tech up, so our favorite Turk should be fully aware that his opponent is quite weak at this stage, or weaker than he should be. Going to take advantage of that to yoink a relic while low coming out. The body blocks, nicely played. Won't be able to get the conversion. We'll be able to keep the prelate alive. We'll be able to run him back to base. Oh, no, it spoke too soon. PuppyPaw with a wrap on the east side. Comes in between the spears and the horsemen. That's going to allow him to slay out the prelates. Regroup. Several of the horse going to go down. Arbitrators just standing their ground as they target out the first knight that emerges to the HRE. And that one knight will go butchering on the side because PuppyPaw played onto the boar. And he isn't reacting either. He's just sitting here. No textiles either. Several villagers should go down to this. One arbitrator trying to react now, but one will not be able to kill him off quick enough. And a good fight coming out in the end. A fight that was needed for the HRE and will allow them to net this second relic, at least in a moment. He does need to pull an additional prelate. Torch down pretty quick here. Sprune placement doesn't really feel worthwhile if you don't actually have the extra source to back this up in the fortification. Just like that, PuppyPaw now finding himself on the defensive. A healthy economic lead that should allow you to boost up quickly in the coming minutes, but in the meantime, your economy is exposed, and that is something that Blue's looking to exploit here. Right in. Onto the villages, they spread out onto the farms, and the Knight line trying to hold, but not doing a great job of it. The Arbiter is wrapped upon by the Knights. Backup coming out from PuppyPaw as more ground is going to be gained here. It's the Special K just going even deeper. The Arbiter is not a critical mass right now, which means they're easy pickings and pricey ones at that, costing 120 resources each. Not a good thing to be losing at this stage, and the Flood Through can continue from here. He's just denied a lot of farms away. He can continue deeper. PuppyPaw does not have a great defense force together. And in fact, the mistake he made is he didn't continue the crawl through with the walling. The walling would have delayed this long enough that he would have been able to insulate himself and build up a defense force, but instead, the HRE are going to dictate the pace again. As the game began, it will continue in the base of the French. The Villagers able to pull back just in time before the Knights would arrive. Still a 22 lead for the French. If he doesn't find a way to stem the bleeding, it's not going to remain a lead for long. Especially with more cheap crap arriving in the front line as Kasva just doubles down on this kind of budgeted formation. Finding decent value out of it as well. Torch down. This is a problem. Like, he still wants to go in the Arbiter as the defense force, but he's struggling to get towards them now. In fact, wow. Yeah, he doesn't have the food together. So PuppyPaw lost the ball. He hasn't played in the secondary ball. He's just trying to play for farms right now. This is offering up a window of opportunity. The keeper's there to try and stabilize him, but the Knights can still dive in and strike here because you never got textiles. Without textiles, these villagers die way too fast. These are Castle Age Knights. It's 2 strikes to kill. They will just make it look cheap and clean. Finally, textiles comes through just in time, but several villagers going down. A lot of idle eco. And the cool thing about being the HRE in this situation is you can afford to just keep throwing crap like this, even on 1 TC. With the Regnets also only having 1 relic, like, it's still good enough. It's why he just keeps pushing in more Knights, more Horsemen, and more Spears. He doesn't need this, like, strong point force. He doesn't need 1,000,001 units to break PuppyPaw right now. He just needs to chip away at him. He just needs to shut down the eco, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's going to wrap around on another group of villagers trying to retreat to safety. He's finding any attempt to try and extend elsewhere from PuppyPaw. This is the problem. A lot of farms not being used. A lot of military infrastructure going down. PuppyPaw still only at 5 military. Meanwhile, Kasva, the cheap, never-ending crap push, is pulling weight here. Up to 28 military. Looking to grow further. Wait, where is... Hold on. Does he know? I think this... Is this a misclick or does he know? Okay, it's a misclick. I was so confused by that. Like, honestly, honest to God, if he knew about that corner, I'm just mind blown at that stage. It must have just been a misclick there. So bring back the second relic now. So that's going to be 600 gold per minute. And if Kasva was able to do what he was doing so far with just the 300 passive gold, imagine what he can do next. He's been pushing a lot of horsemen. He'll be able to afford the premium. More Knights. More Knights, and Knights will be able to dive even under the keep. But now, Kasva says it's time to tech up. It's time for the Love Hotel. Palace of Swabi being built up, and look at this. Only a 17 eco lead. Walolo. It's just a few archers, so we'll try to yoink that one away. PuppyPaw in desperate need of a point of recovery. Building into racks doesn't necessarily feel good as the French, but he doesn't have the ability to build enough Arbiters or French Knights to counter out what he's dealing with. Might just be the Spears. Yeah, it's going to be the veteran Spears coming out because you see so many horsemen in the field. Because also, Kasva hasn't built archers. It sounds really weird as a French player to be pushing Spears at Castle Age point like this, but up against the HRE, it definitely has some validity. Especially when you consider that he hasn't added in Langsneck yet. It's the only way that the Kasva can go to counter out Spears. You don't build archers often as the HRE, especially if you're already up in Castle. Speaking of castles, one has been dropped right outside of PuppyPaw's base now. And a lot of gold going to be yoinked away. Kasva understands what's going to fuel this game. He is up against a French player after all. What do they need more than anything else? Usually it ends up being gold in their compositions. And you can see that's going to continue to be the case because although you've switched into Spears, PuppyPaw still has a demand for gold in these Arbiters. Now on the front line of the Siege Workshop, Bombards coming out. Kasva hitting a good timing here. Bombards are where this gets really dicey. When you're up against Trebuchets, you can delay your requirement to fight by quite a while because Trebuchets just aren't that fast. The Bombards, however, the speed with which they just blitz through buildings, you're going to have to react soon. You could even end up losing the keep if you don't. And that's why the Siege Workshop's going to be coming out from PuppyPaw, probably looking to go into a few Springolds and then dip into some Trebs afterwards. Need to be careful of the ability for Kasva to still dive, though, with the Horsemen, with the Spears. Speaking of diving, a few troops will find their way into the secondary. TC has now been scouted out. And that offers up a different target. Kasva could start to raid in that direction. Instead, he's going to get a second Siege Workshop and continue the blitz. Second Bombard already being built into. Full military infrastructure is going to start falling fast. And, well, that lead that 1PuppyPaw had in the villager department is also going to be falling fast. They begin to even up. 1PuppyPaw at 93. Meanwhile, Kasva now up to 80. That's already half the difference gone. That is the power of the Palace of Swabia, functioning as 3 town centers bundled into one with a 66% discount. You can see how effective it can be. And if we look at the income per minute, you see the moment 1PuppyPaw's ahead, but if you consider that discount, like, Kasva doesn't need to have good food income right now. He needs great gold income, and that's exactly what he's getting. Bombards making their way in deeper. Trebuchets finally coming out in the field for 1PuppyPaw, but this gets dangerous. Like, if we get into full Bombard territory, your buildings start dying too fast. You see the wheeling. Like, Kasva, if you just start targeting out farms, you can really screw over 1PuppyPaw. Maybe even villages would be a good target right now. It's going to be the Red Palace defensive here. That's dangerous, though. Whilst being built up, it can take more damage. Bombard's pulling back. They need to target this out. As soon as it's built up, you need to be firing upon it. And there it is. Shots coming out. Going to try to keep it low on health. Staff with the Spearman trying to get rid of the Arbitrators. And look at the health on this Red Palace. David Kim, 1PuppyPaw just has to commit. But even if he gets it up, it's not going to do anything because it's instantly going to be going down. This rush up is all or nothing for him. 50 villagers to commit. But it's not going to get much value out of this. 2 shots out for the Bombard. Oh! Oh! 2 shots from his time. I actually think Kasva may have targeted something other than the keep there. He keeps it alive. 1PuppyPaw, by the thinnest of margin, gets it up, keeps it up, and it will push Kasva back. Never doubt the Red Palace. What a clutch play coming out of 1PuppyPaw. Understanding that, you know, you can maybe screw me on this, but you can never truly end it. Remember, when you're building up that landmark, it just can't be denied entirely. Even when it goes down to 0 health, when you build it up, when you complete it, yes, it might crumble, but it offers up an opportunity, and the timing on that, the garrison in conjunction with the repairs, just enough to make it through the next shot of Bombard is exactly why 1PuppyPaw remains in this game. Now it's his turn to play Boom Boom Boy. As the cannons come out. The Red Palace seems to be its day on the leaderboards. Just seeing it time and time again, clutching up in games like this. Now offering 1PuppyPaw a lifeline. Lifeline that he desperately needed. And Kasva will have to change pace and change targets here. Now marching to the south side to deal with the secondary TC. As breaching the primary base isn't going to be as easy anymore. Has to resort to Trebs. After all was said and done, though, Kasva, even if he can't end the game here, his eco is now strong. You can see he's taken the lead in the village department. It's not all doom and gloom for 1PuppyPaw, though. The French can be pretty powerful at this stage in the game if they start transitioning to knights, but to do so, he will need to set up more infrastructure. Instead, it's going to be the Arbitrary call, though. A reasonable choice considering you're going to be up against man-at-arms that you've scouted now. Man-at-arms that are diving into your eco lines, by the way. And this is where Kasva would really benefit from making a transition to Langsneck. He hasn't really seen the Arbitraries en masse, though. He isn't going to be able to scout deep enough, I don't think, either. We've only 2 man-at-arms left here. This should be cleaned up, and you only see like 5 or 6 Arbitraries, so your thought is probably, oh, he already had those buildings. If you snuck in the back and you saw all the archery ranges he's building, then you start to think, okay, I might need Langsneck just because they're able to absolutely eviscerate those back lines. It's being eviscerated, or rather obliterated in this situation. The forward base of Kasva is going to be falling. Rax, whoopsie. He's going to have to get the 2-handed research somewhere else as it's not going to complete there in time. Well, back at home, Kasva, yep, has to rebuild because he didn't really have much in the way of production back in home. Only the stables to work with, and he needs more than that. He can't just be a one-trick pony, literally, in this situation. Now, 1PuppyPaw has begun to somewhat stabilize, but it's critical that he gets out of this corner in the coming minutes. He's been boxed in, and the problem being boxed in like this is you start to just absorb every little piece of resource that you have at your disposal. At least you with no reserves. You can see the wood line is being targeted on both sides. He lost his gold in the front. He'll regain that, and it's a good timing to do so as well. Kasva didn't hard commit onto that gold, so he only took 1,200 away. In fact, I believe some of that was even PuppyPaw earlier than that point. So, like, overall, decent state of affairs. We'll have access to almost a full gold vein worth between these two, and that'll allow him to get hard into the arbitrary death ball. Kasva with the prelates in the front line now. Did he go into the... Wait. Did he build the... He built a monastery, right? I'm pretty sure he did. Did he not? Yes, there it is. Gonna say, because he got 5 relics, he should. Okay, this is pretty cool. So he got the build rate. It's pretty underrated, actually. I quite like it. So the build rate, it's a research benediction, which allows you to have your villagers build 50% faster. It's pretty nice for getting like aggressive keeps down. I think that's why he's still pushing prelates. I like the idea behind it. And then devoutness behind it for the extra gathering rates is also nice. Isn't going inspired warriors yet, but if he wants to go back to bombards, it's a pretty respectable choice because you can increase their damage by 15%. Dive in the meantime. The secondary TC kind of has served its purpose now. It's not going to get to exist anymore. Oh my god, the keep, the outpost creep, bravo. And the housing back here, actually. You might want to replace that back at home just in case you end up getting pop capped as a result. Villagers even garrisoning. All sacred sites controlled. PuppyPaw needs to find a way out of his base soon. Red Pass still proving to be the burden of Kasva's existence, the thorn in his side that prevents him from trying to end this game easily. Now the stone walls going up on the northern flank will prevent any backstab attempt. Everything is going to be condensed towards this Red Pass location. Now marching from the horse, spotting out the villagers. This is pretty annoying for PuppyPaw. He will have to rebuild back at home because these are going to now be targeted down. Like the houses, they only have 750 health. There's a few units out in the field that can torch these down, and you start losing these, you're going to lose the ability to produce. So he's going to have to find the room, and it's a bit frustrating because not only is PuppyPaw using a lot of his wood right now, it's also the case that he's running out of room to build things. Arbitraries and Spearmen. Respectable against what Kasva's been pushing. Kasva in need of a transition still. And looks like he has primed it now. Langsneck are coming out soon. Are going to be on the field. Arbors. After being thrown away here. So Horsemen going to get damn good value here in the trade. Although the cannons can even it up. In fact, they're kind of just a pseudo cannon fodder, so the bombards can just do whatever they want. The second line of Arbors, it looks like the Horsemen should be dispatched shortly, but the man-at-arms now wrapping in. In fact, he's overwhelming. I think, yeah, he got the biology, that's why. So he's able to sustain this for a very long time. Finally, the counter, the Spearmen are going to come out, but it does feel like you're going to be giving over some ground here. The good news, at least for PuppyPaw, is he's starting to build up the siege. We'll need to move out soon because, of course, the Sacred Site timer is ticking down in favor of Kasva. Kasva, oh, he wiggles away from the fight. Straight on the gold line. He sees PuppyPaw being greedy. Trying to keep the reserves behind him for later. I don't blame PuppyPaw for this play as well. We already highlighted that if you just stay in your base for too long, like you're running out of resources, he needs to get on that gold. So instead of recommit, base him towards the cannons, and the cannons should make short work of the ponies. Behind that, there's the problem we talked about. PopCap. He even put a cannon emplacement in here. And why not? You get it 25% cheaper. It's going to be faster to burn down these buildings. So PuppyPaw is now pop-capped, and he hasn't addressed it yet. Where's the housing? Oh my god, where's the housing? Does he realize just how much of his housing's over there? Oh god. Oh god. Where are the new houses? Where are the new houses? He's full pop-cap right now. If he loses the cannons, if he loses the front line, he's in trouble. Colverin's now coming out to target out those cannons. That's a problem. He still has not replaced the houses. He's too busy fighting in the center. I can't believe how long this is going for. PuppyPaw is completely off guard. He's caught off guard by this. Horseman now right in. Make for the efficient trades. Colverin should be a one hit as well, thanks to the assistance of the horses. Ooh. I can't believe this. I actually can't believe this. PuppyPaw's still not fixing it. There's still no housing being built. Instead, he's building more infrastructure, but you can't even build out of it. Okay, now he's panic housing. He's finally doing it. But that delay, that's setting back. That's going to allow control in the center now for Kasva. And that's going to kick the can down the road. Remember that the time has been ticking down. We're about, what, 3 minutes in now for the Sacred Site? And Kasva now getting the opportunity to gain ground is going to be a disaster for PuppyPaw. Also, keep in mind the transition's complete. The Langsneck have now come out, and you weren't able to keep pushing units to counter this. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. PuppyPaw is still nowhere near PopCap. Kasva always pretty much there. Diving in now. Langsneck not quite able to reach the Arbitraries. Good micro by PuppyPaw to take them out first. The cannon placements also assisting, but not for long with the trebuchets on the front line. The second wave, that's the problem. Like, yeah, you got rid of one wave of German soldiers. But this is like a certain zombie game. They're never ending. They're wave after wave, and they're not going to stop as more of them march in. And it's just non-stop Langsneck now. He doesn't even care about the man-at-arms, because why would you? Man-at-arms, yeah, they have like double the health, but they take double the damage from the crossbows. They do much less damage than Langsneck, and if there's anything that Kasva can afford, it is the Langsneck. I'm going to keep doing that because I know it drives people crazy. Because he has 5 relics. 5 relics with tie buttons, by the way. What a way to play this as well. Because now it doesn't even matter if he loses them time and time again. He only gets like a okay-ish trades or slightly good for PuppyPaw trades. Like, all that it matters is that PuppyPaw cannot reach mass. He just keeps getting bulked up and counted out. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Mangonels coming out from Kasva next. That would be a pristine move. Instead, it's just going to continue to push into Bombards and Culverins that are able to snipe these elite Arbaletiers from long range. Ooh. Oh, hello, Sunshine. All right, screw Sacred Sites. Kasva didn't even notice this. PuppyPaw snuck out with one Spearman and got the decap. Shivs out. They need to punish that. That was a crafty move. I didn't even notice that. That was nicely played by PuppyPaw. So no Sacred Site timer, but he is on the timer in terms of resources. He's pushing a lot of Arbaletiers and running out of resources to invest in them further. Remember that they are 40 each, or 32 because he's got the influence of the keep. Although you're saving extra resource and, you know, 32 gold per unit doesn't sound that big, it kind of is in the grand scheme of things when your opponent has infinite gold for his gold value unit. In fact, I'd still love to see the Mangonels. I genuinely think Mangonels, yeah, there we go. He's onto it. Even getting the adjustable crossbars as well, so that's going to make it very easy to wipe them. 2 Mangonels will just make short work of the elite Arbitraries. They're probably lingering around on 10, 20 HP max. It's actually crazy the way this is going to play out as well, because Kasva delayed the Mangonels so long that he's given PuppyPaw the tools to kill himself. In fact, he's already killing him without the Mangonels, because for some reason, PuppyPaw thinks he can just gluttonously move in and snipe Bombards. And now he's going to be punished for it. It's a good trade again. I kind of feel at a loss for what PuppyPaw does now. If he tries to transition at this stage with limited room to get the infrastructure up, he's just going to get punished for it. And these horseman dive-ins, you can just see how willing Kasva is to commit non-stop. And look at the difference in resources. PuppyPaw isn't at PopCap right now. He's still rushing towards it. Kasva's always got reserves to play with as he just keeps reinvesting it. And he's reinvesting it into man-at-arms again. And a lot of them. Armors trying to move forward. Mangonel shots coming out. Heavy damage done here. And if this armor gets wide, PuppyPaw will not be able to replace it. Rushes in on top of the Mangonels. Another shot is going to come out. In the meantime, the horsemen backstabbing. The cannons as well. Just decimating the armor line. And it looks like PuppyPaw is going to get wiped. Wiped out of this game. Man, I got to give credit to Kasva. Doesn't let the bug stop him. Doesn't let it hold him back. The counter pressure coming out early from PuppyPaw, a good idea, but the late game cruise through the HRE proves too dominant. Okay, yeah, the story's going to continue. Wait, no, the story's not going to continue. Kasva's going to lose. Sorry, I thought he was playing the Delhi. There's no way the English win, right? Unless they're played by Mister. Okay, I'm trying to avoid sound like a Mr. fanboy, but he's the only player I've seen make the English work against Delhi on Lipany. Because this is the ugly face of Lipany, the Delhi pick that just seems to be so oppressive. Curious to see what Kasva's got in mind, but I think I already know. And actually, the more I think about it, this could be a win, it could be a loss. But consider how messy his game against Kapoch was on the weekend to get that win as the English up against the Delhi. I'm a little bit worried for him. Because the way he's probably going to try and win is the boy at arms. And there it is. It's time to get frisky with your plastic swords. Here we go. And the boy at arms. It's a play that I know Kasva loves. He likes to play it on these maps with Stealth Forests as well. We had a little bit of a talk about this. He agrees that he thinks Stealth Forests are the maps to utilize this move because it hides it. If you think about it, like maps like Highview and Lipany, they block clear vision towards your base quickly. And also the way that these maps are like generated, a lot of people play the outskirts first. Offers up an opportunity to sneak through unnoticed. And it's an opportunity that Kasva is going to take as he marches out towards where that gold vein is going to be. Now, the gold vein is tight next to the TC, but you can skirt on the edge and not end up diving under town center fire. So you should be able to block this gold out for a little bit. The concern is whether we'll be able to do it indefinitely, because I wouldn't be surprised if, yep, outpost already coming. PuppyPaw, he marched in, he scouted out, and folks, this is the critical detail why scouting is important. For people who say, I got Barbican rushed, or, oh god, this guy, man-at-arms rushed me. Scout their base. It's your best opportunity. Because of that detail, outpost should go up in time. He cancelled the mining camp to ensure it. Beautiful move out of PuppyPaw, actually. If he built the mining camp first, this wouldn't be going up quick enough. He'd be losing a villager or two. But instead, look at the difference it makes. A little bit of health lost, but never has to worry about it. Outpost goes up. Mining camp can be built instantly afterwards. And now Kasva has to go back to the drawing board. Not worth pushing more of these. He'll cancel it. And before someone thinks that, oh, isn't the boy arms play just like 2 or 3 max? No, not with Kasva. Kasva likes to go up to like 4 or 5. I've even seen games where he'll then add in longbows as well. This was simply him identifying this isn't going to work. So he'll patrol around, but he won't really find any value out of this play. Instead, we start to see the risk of doing this. When you make this play, you just put yourself 240 resources, well, actually 390 resources behind. Because he invested in the racks, which was a pricey 150. And then on top of it, each man at arms cost him 120 resources. Looks like he'll commit in. One upside is you can force a lot of idle time by them garrisoning, but you are eventually going to lose these lads. You can see how that damage adds up pretty quick. It doesn't look like it, like, oh yeah, pretty quick, Pigeon. Wow, 3 damage per shot. Sure, but it's 3 damage per shot on a unit that you want to last a long time on the front line like this. So it definitely starts to sting. The problem is, like, even if you dive it again, PuppyPaw is going to get the initial gold for the tech up. He could block him off the follow-up gold for the scholars, but you need to get quite close here. You have to find the perfect placement. That might be difficult. The scout's right up in your face like this. In fact, if you just misstep and get a little bit too close, you can easily be sniped. And yeah, here we go. Outpost going up. Scouts are going to try to commit, but the man-at-arms are on guard. Kasva is relentless in his pursuit of these gold veins. Tech up will at least begin for PuppyPaw. And remember that Kasva has hugely delayed his own tech up by doing this. Pulled a villager, built an outpost, already built the 2 man-at-arms. We talked about the cost of the racks. 3rd man-at-arms coming in now, so this is do or die for him. Yeah, make no mistake, this game is like going to be pretty much decided by about 10 minutes. You'll either have done enough damage to slow down the deli, or the deli will find a way to wiggle out, and you're in trouble. And the issue that I see is I feel like you're in trouble right now. The build-up speed on this is delayed so much that there's enough gold for at least 1 extra scholar. Might even be able to get 2 if he hung around with an additional villager here. There you go. Just bank it in. The outpost should get fully garrisoned. Is tugging out the scouts, though, instead of the villagers. And puppy. Woo! Without textiles. I don't know if that was calculated or what. Let's see if it was. How much did he get? So he got 11 more gold. 1 short of the 100 mark. Doesn't really matter, though. He doesn't really need 100. He only needed 75. I think he's just being overly greedy. He's now going to pull back to the Salvan gold vein, and I don't know if Kasva knows about this. He has it scouted, but to move to it now, you have to get rid of this outpost first. That delay is going to be pretty heavy as well. Scouts marching across are going to look to garrison inside. They might even be able to snipe out 1 or 2 man-at-arms for this. In fact, the look of the villager. Ooh. Nice pullback. Kasva keeps his outpost builder alive. Another cool thing about this strategy, by the way, when you start to build up torch units like this, remember that you get the network of castles here. So attack speed just being juiced up does help. Will allow him to burn through this quicker. So outposts are going to be going down. PuppyPaw will have to pull off this, but pretty happy with the state of affairs if I'm a deli player. I've still got my gold vein on reserve. You can chase me around, but the time it's going to take you to get there, that's going to be a 2nd scholar, maybe even a 3rd if I'm lucky. In fact, PuppyPaw needs to be careful not to drag him back in this direction. Has already got wheelbarrows, so he will be able to run away. And this is why the boy arms can feel a little bit sucky when it misses its first shot, because now if you get caught chasing these villagers, it's 1.12 movement speed compared to 1.29. And the scouts alone will not be able to kill villagers. And there you go, pulls away. Whoops. The wolf is a slight problem here, though. But overall, how much gold did he get? Ooh, he's got enough for another scholar. So that's going to be 3 scholars total coming out, which is pretty good for him. And now you just need to build troops to go alongside it. And you had your berries this whole while, so you can now start stacking up horsemen. And whoopsie daisy, another issue of what Kasva's done here. Because he wraps to the exact opposite side of the base, now he's not defending this outpost. And remember, folks, you might think, oh, but Kasva could just have arrow slits because we're 6.5 minutes in the game. Yes, usually. But Kasva still hasn't begun a tech up. He's still Dark Age, so he can't get the arrow slits at all. And that's why this tower could easily fall. In fact, did he lose the village? Oh, I think he lost the villager as well. That's tough. Outpost's going to go down. Scout will be sniped, but the horseman pull back, and gold once again gained. He's just never leaving. He's absolutely handling Kasva in this early game. Like, it's so deceitful the way he's playing this. And now in the archery range as well. Archers, which, by the way, aren't that bad against man-at-arms being played like this, because the man-at-arms can't reach you, they can't dive. And now look what happens. The horsemen pull in. Heavy damage being leveraged here. 6 damage going through against these very squishy units in this combat situation. After that, all this damage done, you just micro the injured horsemen off and heal them up the scholars. Kasva, this is what I was highlighting about the 10-minute mark being important here. One way or the other, the game was going to be decided, and it's starting to look like it could easily be over. He'll try for the recovery now into the council hall. At least one upside, if I could find one for Kasva. He did at least get some farms down already. So he's at least padded his food income. But he didn't play around the sacred sites now. And, well, if you want to take a look at what has or hasn't been researched, Sanctity is now underway. 3 minutes away, admittedly. But by the time you get there, like, the horseman stack is going to be deadly in count. Whoopsie, whoopsie, scout. Ooh, okay, that's a little bit of a whoopsie-daisy angel. Wait, did PuppyPaw misclick? Huh. Did PuppyPaw do a PuppyPaw again? His tech up wasn't delayed that much. I think he might have done a PuppyPaw again. This guy always forgets his techs. I think he didn't... Did he not... Wait. What just happened? Was it bugged out? Wait. What? What? Guys, I have the power. I have the power. Watch. Nice villagers, idiot. What the hell is this UI? No, no villagers. What? Wait, have I broken the replay? What? Then why can I cancel everything? What the hell? What? No, PuppyPaw, Kasva wins this one. No, you can't have any of this. What's Kasva building? Let's see, Kasva. Nah, I can't like that. I can't let that, dude. Too many villagers. You're not allowed more villagers. Oh my god, this is the game mode I need. Guys, can someone go code this? I need this is modded right now. You need to have like 1v1s where there's a third person griefing them. You get X amount of griefs per minute. So you have to be very selective of which ones you take. What the hell? What is this? No, you can't have Sanctity. I cancel it. I'm going to stop. I think it's fair to say some work is needed on the spectating tools, folks. What the hell? What? I just didn't understand. It's just a UI bug, obviously. Like, I'm not interfering. I swear, I'm not sabotaging their game. But, like, it's such a dumb UI bug. So as far as I can tell, the way it works is, like, if you're in Kasva selection, you can, like, so you can cancel all the things being produced. But then as soon as you switch back again, you can see them again. Yeah. That's weird. No, it doesn't stop production for anyone panicking that I'm sabotaging. So this game, like, this is an absolute live game right now. It was just played recently, like, less than 24 hours ago. So I definitely am not screwing. I was a little bit paranoid, though, because, like, these type of elements could cause desyncs. It's why most RTSs historically have used, like, peer-to-peer lockstep. Is like one piece of information poorly passed could cause a diversion. So I was kind of paranoid for a second that was actually going to do something, and it would have stopped sacred sites from being capped. But it looks like we're safe. It is just UI bugs. Whew. Seriously, though, I can't believe that's... Like, I actually, like... Has that... I don't feel like that's always been there, right? I feel like that's a recent thing. I would have noticed beforehand. It's a funny one, though. Anyway, focusing on game. PuppyPaw, all 3 sacred sites captured. And this is where Kasva just has to rush Castle Age. He'll get it, but notice that PuppyPaw is not going to be far behind him, and PuppyPaw actually has a standing army right now. All the walls going up as well to ensure that he can't easily be raided. Nice play here. Loads of choke points to utilize. Now Kasva going hard into those knights. PuppyPaw, like we said, won't be far behind in the tech up, and it is going to be the House of Learning. A nice choice here. The reason this is a really good choice in this game is, like, you have 2 approaches to what you want to do next. Because your goal now as PuppyPaw with this positioning is to hold sacred sites. So you could go combat on a defender and get static defenses cheaper. But you're up against England, and, you know, given 10 minutes, they could probably build enough trebuchets to breach. Your alternative is to go House of Learning, and in 5 minutes, get your sabers, get your better melee damage. And the cool thing about this is, like, when you take fights around these sacred sites, PuppyPaw doesn't have to worry about the attack speed aura, because Kasva has to move forward to set up that infrastructure first, and whoops. So the cool thing about this choice is it means that he should be able to yield an advantage in the midfield fights, and Kasva isn't likely to have the outpost in place to get his booster. It just means your knights are overall going to be better. And make no mistake, folks, this will be a knight push. You see the Lancers stacking up out of multiple stables. 4 stables in his base to work with here. And Relics also being yoinked. As PuppyPaw starts to make his way back to base with the triple Relic grab. Gold trickle that will put him ahead. On top of that, remember, he's still got the 3 sacred sites. There's going to be over 700 gold per minute. And that means that Kasva is playing full catch-up, despite the fact he's got a second TC now. These knights can't even stop to try and block out the relics being grabbed. Actually, this might be 4 relics, right? Yep, this is 4 relics. PuppyPaw, mwah, beautiful. He had 3 in the field already, remember. He had the sacred sites being captured. And this is the sin. This is the cardinal sin, when you don't actually do anything to, like, block out the deli. Now, that's not to say Kasva didn't try. He went for a base block, which is usually very effective against the deli. But because he didn't do anything to try and block the sacred sites as well, you just see the result of that. The walls went up. Most of the map was controlled by PuppyPaw. And off the back of that, not only does he get the gold trickle from the sacred sites, he gets almost the same amount of gold trickle out of the relics now, as 4 are banked at home and only 1 unreachable. Now the death stat continues. Kasva. If he was struggling to get good trades already, it's going to get worse soon because herbal medicine's almost done. 50 seconds out. Horsemen always able to chase off these knights, but decide to peel back in the meantime. And on the north side, well, who would win? 1 horseman and a knight. Hey, no fair, that's cheating. No one said we had to play by the rules. I think these archers should be enough to kill that knight. They're going to take a lot of casualties, but they'll get rid of him. Now keep the tick down going. As he wasn't able to decap, Kasva's going to be a little bit frustrated by this. Definitely still on the clock, and Skulls on the front line able to heal each other out. Herbal Medicine not there yet, but will be soon. And with 5 Scholars here, there's no way this knight can win. Kasva, he needs to switch up, and he needs it fast. If he's just going to push knights, he's pushing knights into his own doom, because you know what PuppyPaw's up to. It's Elephanto fun time. The first one is half complete. PuppyPaw, notice that he doesn't speed this up. He doesn't invest Scholars because he hasn't really got the resources to afford that level of production. That's why he instead just relies on these empty military production buildings to produce at their regular rate instead of doubling up. See the power of these Lancers that have come through already, like 25 damage with the Blacksmith. almost done with the House of Learning, which will add another 3 in. And by comparison, like, you know, Blacksmith upgrades, he at least got the level 1 melee tech, but Kasva is struggling to afford the demand of this war. Instead, it looks like he's switching onto the stone now, so he wants to go for a keep drop. It might be the only way to get back in this game, but it's a very risky play. Like, you don't have any angle of approach that isn't going to be covered, and your strategy, your attempt here is going to be revealed wherever you go, because the one gap you had before has now been walled. Timer is ticking down. It's been like, what, 3-4 minutes at least now? And I don't think you can wait around. Like, the Knights are going to reveal. The Villager follow-up. Kasva, if he doesn't get this keep up, I expect him to wave that flag. It's going to be tight to do so as well. Oh, my God. The backstab. He doesn't have vision yet. Oh, he's going to be pinched. 5 Knights are going down, folks. Make no mistake about it. Wrap in now. Lancer's in charge. Knights able to back away just in time. Good reaction out of Kasva. Keeps him alive, but for what, though, is the question mark. Look at the amount of cavalry marching in now. 50-50 split of horsemen and knights. And now the aggressive keep drop. He's going to beat Kasva to the punchline. And this is grim. Kasva, he has to go for a defensive keep instead. An aggressive keep now coming out from 1PuppyPaw. Shifts back with the villagers. An engagement involving the elephants and the lancers. Skulls on the front line as well. And this flood through is going to be unbearable for Kasva. March forward onto the villagers. He hasn't got enough troops to hold in the choke point here. He'll be overwhelmed. Several villagers going to be targeted down. In the meantime, Textiles is at least there to ensure Kasva gets the keep up. But this is a problem. This keep is too defensive. It holds your base, but what do you do against the sacred sites? You do nothing here. And instead, this is going to block you out. It's going to limit your options. He still didn't get through the walls. I struggle to see the way now. 1PuppyPaw, marching around the backside, is going to master the Longbowmen who are standing their ground. And with more elephants coming out, diving in deeper. Sure, he doesn't have the healing force to keep them alive infinitely, but he doesn't need to. 1PuppyPaw's goal now is just to throw crap endlessly into Kasva's base. Because to do so is to win on the sacred sites. And you can see the villager pool. Kasva needs to go. Kasva needs to go right now. Oh my God, so many villagers are dying right now, though. That's his whole eco lead just gone. More elephants onto the keep. No way towards the sacred sites. I mean, this one has felt done since that keep went up. And I see very little way for Kasva to recover now. If there were no walls here, maybe he could rush in and decap, but because of 1PuppyPaw's astute move to set up those walls, he creates these choke points, he creates this slowdown, and it means that elephants cannot be outmaneuvered, and he will not be outmaneuvered on Lipany. For the English-Rus matchup between these two lads. So 1-1 apiece, if I'm not mistaken. Kasva opens up with a beastly HRE on Dry Arabia, and then 1PuppyPaw able to, as is so predictable, even it up as the Delhi on Lipany. Now we take to Altai in a matchup that can be quite interesting because there's a lot of kind of step-off points for win conditions between these two. Now, traditionally, the English right now on this map are trying to play for hard Imperial 90% of the games. And if they get there, great. Like, it's very easy once you reach Castle to cruise on up because of all the easily defendable points in this map with all the wood lines. And my God, is there a lot of wood lines for you to easily create little palisade walls between. The crux is feudal. And what Civ is better at utilizing feudal aggression than the Rus? Especially when the boar is located towards the center with deer. Why is this spawn? If Kasva doesn't go for a boar play, something's wrong. This looks so juicy. The Hunter Cabin alone is going to yield good results. You can set up, also because it's up against the wall, you can set up a wooden fortress ahead of this and it'll block out Lombos from sniping. You've got 3 deers and a boar. Yeah, this has to be a boar play. I'd be very surprised if this doesn't end up being one. We'll just have to keep an eye on that as the game goes on. So Kasva already moving out to try and grab as much booty as he can. Yep, that's what I call the bounty. Already grabbing up some wolves to bring back as well as sniping out his safe deer. Surprised he went after his safe deer this quickly. I think you can kind of delay this. It's very unlikely that 1PuppyPaw is going to wrap around there. He's got bigger targets to worry about. And 1PuppyPaw did go for the double scout as expected. You just have to. I think when you're up against the Rus, it's really detrimental to not. In fact, 1PuppyPaw, he's pretty damn good at microing on these wolves. Let's see if it actually works out to his advantage here. Oh, he's trying to fake pump. He's fake pumping. Kasva's not falling for it, though. Nice maneuver by Kasva. Dude, 1PuppyPaw is one of the most crafty players for fake pumps. I've lost count of the amount of times he's completely rinsed people on the Wolf and Deer Snipe Veer, but Kasva, he's in tune to this. He's not gonna fall for it so easily. He will be able to yoink all the deer before PuppyPaw is able to intercept. Looks like the only thing PuppyPaw will get is 1 or 2 sheep out of this. So at the end of the day, Kasva, like 2.5 minutes in, it's going to be, what, breach of 300 gold at least at this rate? This is a good showing. Another thing I want to see him showing is Wheelbarrow being researched soon. He's definitely got enough gold to go for him. There's no reason not to get Wheelbarrow, really, in practically any game, especially in this situation. Like, it's 150 gold and the wood. You don't need the wood for anything else right now. You have enough gold for a tech up. You just need to sort your food. So, we'll get into it. And this then opens up the opportunity to go towards the ball, because you'll have Wheelbarrow researched by 4.5 minutes, which is usually like the first step-off point for that strategy. Meanwhile, PuppyPaw's base, it looks like he's going to be going for the slow build-up of farms that we've been seeing more frequently. I want to see more players doing what Give You Anxiety done here, though. The deer. Like, the deer play, I think there's some validity. I think he might be onto something. For those that haven't seen it, Give You Anxiety was able to get one of the quickest castle age timings I've seen for an English player ever via going on deer instead of farms. And he done it on this very map because on Altai, your deer stack spawns very close to your base, so it's somewhat justified. And yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about because, like, realistically, even in Dark Age, the gathering rate on these farms is actually better than deer. But it's an unfair direct comparative because you have to talk about the point of investment. You have to invest 37 wood for each of these, which means you're also going to have a lumber camp set up because you're going to need the wood coming in from there. And then that stretches Rika, and then you have the idle time going back and forth if you need to pull those people across from wood to food. Whereas if you just go for the deer, like, yes, long-term it's worse, but if you want the quickest cast stage timing possible, it just beats out everything else. So tech up now coming out. Wooded Fortress also set up. Kasva has not got the gold or food. He's just short when he completes the tech up to go for double broad axe. That's one of the builds we've seen a lot of players kind of moving away from, actually, interestingly enough, at the moment. Just to try and get that quicker timing on pulling towards the ball with initial resources. Let's see if he does go back for it. Now, typically the way you do this is you start pulling the villagers around now with Wheelbarrow complete, and then you move 1 or 2 more to complete the golden gate. But looks like Kasva's committing everyone here, and he's just going to stick in his base. Yeah, he's not coming out. A little bit surprised by this play, especially considering this. Like, oh my god, he doesn't see. I can't believe he doesn't see. Look how close he is to having vision on this. I think if you knew about the Abbey of Kings, you go for the ball play because you're just more inclined. Like, there's no threat of lombos. You probably don't even need a Wooded Fortress to defend you as quickly. Maybe want one in case the stable comes out, but you can scout that anyway. Like, this definitely feels like a missed opportunity now. Looks like Kasva is at least going to set up the stable. He can still make the pull. I usually see 3 different timings. Most of the time is condensed towards the 4.5 minute timing for the ball pull, but there's also the backup timing of the 6 minute and the 8 minute mark. They still work pretty well. I just think, like, most Roost players have gotten good at just immediately going for it because it's such a high value play at this stage in the game when your economy is very limited. So instead now, PuppyPaw will be going into the racks, so could be looking to stack up the man-at-arms early on here. Could also just be that he's scouted out the stable on the backside. There it is, the ball. It's going to pull around the 6 minute mark, as we were talking about. It's going to march out. That is going to be scouted out by PuppyPaw. But PuppyPaw, he's building in the spears. He has to build in the spears because he knows the stable is likely coming, and this can be to his detriment. It means he won't be able to dive into the Wooded Fortress with such a squishy and unarmored unit. And the only thing that PuppyPaw can do is really screw with things here. He keeps aggroing the boar around. Tech up is at least complete for him. Has got the Abbey of Kings now. PuppyPaw's goal here is to now rush castle as quickly as possible. His hand has been somewhat revealed by this because I do think Kasva got eyeballs on that in the end. And if you see an Abbey of Kings, you know you're not going to likely have aggression on you early on. We've seen a few players try to utilize horsemen, but horsemen aren't necessarily there to, like, sustain, shall we say. They're not there to do the dive-ins and then come back and heal. The horseman is just a sidestep on your way towards the knights. The knights that can be high value to get these heals on. Will be the ball play, dragged back towards the trees. Interesting choice to not set it up over here. I guess it's like the vision, and then he doesn't want to get sniped from the fog where the tree lines are. This way he has open plain ahead of him, and it means he'll be able to easily see any lombos or anything else coming towards him. Looks like for now, first knight marching out. I like Kasva's vision, by the way. This is a really cool thing he's done. Like, he's leveraging this vision advantage around his opponent's base at all times. The reason it's important for him here is because he can see that no units are coming, he doesn't have to build Wooden Fortress. And yeah, it's not until the first spearman comes out now that he says, okay, defense is required. Cool little detail. It seems very nitpicky, but it lets you get the initial drop off of boar. And that allows you to inflate your food eco. So you can maybe afford initial, like, increased demand in your base in the meantime, as opposed to if you had just had to reactionary build up the Wooden Fortress straight away. Also means you have additional wood that you can spend on trade instead in the Golden Gate, which, by the way, Kasva is stockpiling quite a lot of right now. 4 supplies available to him. If he's smart about this, he could get a very quick castle up. In fact, I wonder if that's his win condition in his eyes. He's got a few knights. He can block gold. Yeah, actually, I think Kasva's win condition is just to get castle fast here. Use a few knights to deter the gold away from PuppyPaw, because PuppyPaw wants fast castle too. And by doing this, you unlock your own win condition while blocking his. So a few knights stop him from reaching castle. Although, what you may not know is PuppyPaw already got the required quantity. So it's going to be the end of the world for him. It will be frustrating nonetheless as he tries to return to that gold line. Spearmen are going to be targeted down by the early knights. Once again, the villagers have to retreat. It's interesting that PuppyPaw's trying to commit to this goal, but if you think about it, what does he want to build when he reaches castle? It's definitely not man-at-arms, so he needs to get back on the goal because without it, he can't get the initial knights out. While this is happening, is Kasva beginning to save up? Still has the supplies to work with. Wood is looking good for the trade. Now, this is the critical point where you just make a choice. You're either committing to go towards castle, or you're building a proxy base now to blitz into your opponents. If you want to blitz in, you have to be fast. There's definitely an opportunity now. This is a very aggressively placed King's Palace. Knights won't be able to dive in. Barely alive, in fact. 8 and 3 health. Good work done by the spearman from the English, but this is where Kasva has to make a choice, and it looks like he's now saving up, so he will be reaching up for the Castle Age. And the beginning of the Castle Age, like, think about choices now available. One issue you have if you are PuppyPaw is you've just revealed your build, to be honest. Like, you're going knights. You're not going for archers in this situation. This is actually why a lot of players, even if they just want to rush castle, still like to get the council hall, because it deters other options. The option that you'd be deterring from the roost is horse archers. But because you don't have lombos, and it's quite blatant that you're going to be going into melee units, the choice should be quite simple for Kasva. This will be a tech up immediately into horse archers. PuppyPaw in the meantime. Now committing to that hand we talked about. Stables and racks, it's just melee units. Meanwhile, boar should be almost done with. I wouldn't be surprised if after this... So, 2 choices right now. Kasva can just amass horse archers, or he can play for secondary TC. I would think he's playing for second TC with the stable. Like, he's building a second stable at the stage instead of getting the horse archers. Interesting choice. I guess his thought process is that PuppyPaw is very condensed right now. So going at horse archers means you're going to have to dive defenses, and double TC fire will kill you off fast. So instead, he might just be playing min-map with the knights, with the opportunity to dive if your opponent isn't guarding, and then you just play for relics into second TC to boom. PuppyPaw. You can see that he's drained himself a little bit here. Food is looking bad for English, which is not something we see often. It's because he hadn't set up the farms. He's having to rely on the deer, and the deer, he loses some efficiency there. Remember what we highlighted, like, if you're able to have all these villagers on farms, it's just better gathering rates. The strain is getting there. That is where he's being strained right now. His eco isn't feeling that big. Knight advantage isn't going to last long in the midfield for PuppyPaw. Key concern for him is when you play away from your base, these trades are just good for Kasva because he gets Boy's Fortitude and has more health, and you don't have more attack speed. You need the aura. Knight upgrade does come through. This clash will be more or less even. Nice micro there from Kasva to peel off. Means it's going to be a good trade. And PuppyPaw, whoopsie, nice timing. He didn't even give him the opportunity to min-max there. In fact, that should just be both knights maybe going down. Whew. Out just in time. Now Kasva's done with the ball. What does he do? He could hang around and go onto the deer stack to the north side. It is a little bit greedy, though. He might just choose to fall back. Given the fact that he's going for that second TC we talked about, he can be risky with eco, though. Wall on the center. We'll push the knight away again. Spearman is going to be brought down. He even gets the knight on the edge. Push the warrior monk forward. Micro, not on point there from PuppyPaw, getting away fast enough. Means he gets a full health knight into the mixer here. Definitely be happy with that. I'm pretty sure PuppyPaw should have been able to get away with that. He just wasn't paying attention, and now, as a result of that, like, the knight lead is very clearly with Kasva. And Kasva's doing a damn good job of microing these knights so he doesn't lose them. There we go. So it looks like Kasva is going to continue to play the pocket eco. Makes sense. Like, the grand scheme of things is to delay the farm transition as long as possible. Garrison is going to come out as the knight reveals what's happening over here, but can't do much about it. You see, he's still got the berries in reserve, but ultimately your goal is to keep kicking that timing down the line. Like, you do not want to have to go into farms in the next 3 or 4 minutes. You want to be able to critical mass your knights. Also, wait, is he going to get another one? Nah, this one won't work. It's spears against cavalry. An ambitious attempt, but no way in hell. So it's blocked off on one of the relics. Also to the south side. Nice moves by PuppyPaw. Taking a lot of equity away. That's 120 resources per warrior monk. 2 just going down like that is frustrating. And remember that they have a long build-up time. 45 seconds to get each one out. Nice. Ooh, whoops. Whoops, Kasva. Never mind. Never mind. Did cost him 3 villages, though. So quite pricey. I think you're happy with that trade for one night. The Knights clash come out again as the traitor joins the main fights. PuppyPaw still not able to get out on the map, though. Like, outside these spearmen that he snuck out on the northern and southern flanks, he hasn't really been able to do much. He has snuck the Knights now down to the south side. I love to see him wrap these in. It's good that he's guarding these relics, but there is such a thing as, like, over-focusing the relics. And I think that's what he's doing now by holding the Knights here. Is because he revealed the spears already and they killed off a warrior monk, he's now like, okay, what if he shows up with X unit? Then my spears die. But, like, if that's your concern, like, what is he going to show up with? Knights? Well, your spears still trade well. So you could just send more spears down here. If you're worried about him going horse archers, your Knights don't help with that because they can't gap close. Standard defenses starting to add a lot of damage into the fights. It just means beneficial trades. And only thing that Kasva's like misstep with here so far is he isn't getting an arrow slits. The arrow slits are very much worthwhile because they're bugged right now. For those that don't know, if you get the arrow slits in conjunction with the Springald, which you can do with wooden fortresses, it increases the range of the Springald defenses. Very valuable tool to have. Speaking of value, you can see the boys' fortitude now coming through. And it is valuable at this stage. Kasva's built up a reasonable amount of knights, so getting that extra 40 health in the mixer, oh sorry, 20 health, is going to add up quite nicely for these knights. I like to think boys' fortitude is like a mini Royal Bloodlines, the same logic, in that with Royal Bloodline, it's very rare that a French player wants to be getting that tech up before he has knights in the field. You want to build the knights first to justify the investment. And that's why when you have like 12 knights at this point, it definitely feels worthwhile. Like the increase of 20 health on each of these adds up. This has to be frustrating for PuppyPaw. He has the Abbey of Kings, but the amount of time you'd have to sit there idle, healing up, compared to how quickly you take the damage from the Springwalls, doesn't make for a good exchange. Now the Knight's Death Stack is beginning to bulk. More stables. Working day and night to reach that critical mass. Kasva is almost at the stage where he just wants to dive into the base, and he definitely has a way in because PuppyPaw has no defenses. He only has the town centers. He hasn't built a keep at the front. He hasn't fully walled himself in. I think it's a little bit cocky to just believe you'll hold. And you're about to learn why. Kasva marches in. Nightline way too big. Barely any spears. Way too much greed coming out from PuppyPaw. Gonna pay the price. Diving in. Villages are exposed. The wraparound, the flood through will begin. And so many villages are going to be butchered from this. PuppyPaw is going to lose the eco lead and lose a lot more than just that. So many villagers dying and so much idle time right now. That's over 30 villagers not gathering for you, and the dive through is just so effective. 6 ranged armor on these knights. They don't care. Even more now coming through with the Saint's Blessing, just giving that reach in, that extra armor, that extra defense, that extra damage that allows him to just run you through. And just like that, PuppyPaw's whole eco is going to grind to a halt. Knights, aren't they meant to be defending the base? Nope, they're running out the other side. A few left behind to just idle the eco further. The amount of time it takes to actually kill them off is equaled out by the amount of eco that you just don't have gathering right now. Looks like villagers are at least going to wrap out the base, so at least he has a woodline still gathering. A woodline that Kasva is now looking for. We'll settle for the stone line in the meantime. This, I just don't see a way back in for PuppyPaw now. Not with this coming in as well. Kaz with a forward keep drop right on top of the King's Palace. That's going to be a quick build-up. And the problem is your army died. You haven't got enough troops here to stop it. Textile's also in the mix. Means that maybe you kill 5 or 6 villagers, but Kasva can afford that dent in his eco because of the lead he's now built. And the Knights can't even get good trades, even with the attack speed aura. It's just going to be a bad trade. PuppyPaw, looking back at this game, I think the concern is, like, when you go Abbey of Kings this way, it makes Kasva's build very easy. And I would actually query, like, what did Abbey of Kings do for you here, other than lose you a game? Because I don't remember once where the Knights got some ample heals out of it. In fact, I'd say that these Warrior Monks done more healing than Abbey of Kings. And it gives Kasva a pretty easy